And those of us who truly read the memoirs of Columbus, don't just watch the movie, read his memoirs. Columbus knew, he went to Iceland first, then he went down to West Africa, and he described dugout canoes, huge canoes Africans going across. If you look and see the people who traveled with him, many of the people who traveled with Columbus and the early Spanish and Portuguese conquistadores, they were what we call Morescos. Now, what is Moresco? Moresco is, we find that in 1482, the Spanish Inquisition began. And in this Inquisition, they would take you to an inquisitor, and they check you out. Are you a Catholic or not? If you say you're not, they'll burn you at the stake. They'll torture you to death. And so thousands of people were dying in the Inquisition. Some people could not take the torture. The Jews were called Morenos, who could not take it. The Muslims were called Morescos. Now, what they had done when they were coming down, they conquered Muslims and they made them slaves. Is another term. It comes from Mudajjal. Mudajjal in Arabic is like a name of ridicule. So Mudajjis. These people were as slaves. And there was rules that were being passed with the Jews and the Muslims would be used as slaves by Ferdinand and Isabella and the forces of Aragon and Castilla when they were coming down. And so in 1492, the importance of that from our point of view, and it's always good to see history from two sides, right? 1492, like they said in 1992, it is the age of discovery, right? The quincentennial, 500th celebration of the age of discovery. And I'm asking myself, and many people will ask, especially if you're a native person, right? And many of us have native blood. My grandmother's a Mohawk, right? So I'm saying, if you have this blood, you're asking yourself, when Columbus landed on the shore, okay, the people were standing there looking at him. So how can you discover a place when the people are standing there looking at you, and they've been there for 10,000 years, they have great civilizations, the Aztecs, the Incas, the Olmec people, the Mayan people, they had pyramids. There's pyramids in Mexico. Go to Belize, go to Mexico, you see pyramids. In Peru, there's pyramids. Mexico City was larger than any city in Western Europe. The Aztecs had a complicated society, constitutions, governments. The Aztec calendar is similar to the Egyptian calendar, the ancient Egyptian calendar. The Cherokee Nation in the United States, they had 3-story apartments, man. But you don't hear that. You hear Christopher Columbus discovered America in 1492. What I would say is that Christopher Columbus was discovered in 1492. Because he was lost, and he bumped into the Caribbean. He thought he was going to India, so the great Khan, right? So he said, you're Indians. Indians, the people here, they don't know India. But he said, you're Indians, okay? But what is interesting for us now, we're tracing the names. And you'll find on the Nina and the Pinta and the Santa Maria, you trace some of these names. The captain, I think it's of the Pinta, is Boabdil. He has a name, Boabdil. This is a Moresco name, Abu Abdullah. Okay, and you find Rodrigo de Triana, you find especially the person who sighted land first, he was a Moresco. So many of the people who came into the region here, and I had the opportunity to live in Jamaica for a while, to travel. I went to Honduras, to Costa Rica, to Panama, to Curacao, to Belize, to the islands in the Caribbean, Puerto Rico, asking different people, checking the names of the people, checking the history. And what we come to realize is that actually what happened in the region was a genocide. The native people were exterminated. Disease and treachery. That the native people who populated the islands and the region suffered under this rule. And one of the worst things that was done by the conquistadores was they used to burn the books. They would come into an area and they would burn the books. And when you burn people's books, you're destroying their history, man. You're destroying their memory of themselves. And this is part of the reason why we're confused, and researchers and historians who are trying to do research, you gotta like get a lot of pictographs and wall writings and things, because we can't find the writings, and the people could write. And so we find this legacy in the region.